Hey guys, we're out here today and we're just trying to cover a couple questions that we get a lot whenever we're starting the process of building, the pros and cons of some of the different options that we have. And so Matt and I just decided we'd sit down and kind of talk about some of these common topics that we get a lot. And I'd say the first question that we get all the time is, do I build a spec house or do I build a custom home? And so it's one of those things where it's kind of just there's a lot of pieces and parts to it, so it kind of gets a little confusing, doesn't it, Matt?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know the terminology, what do we think of spec? What's a spec house, Chris?
So a spec house is a home that is already in the process of being built, or the plan's already complete, the design board's already done. A lot of the aspects of the home are already chosen for you.
Yeah. So when you go to a lot of these bigger neighborhoods that you see, these bigger developments, those are all spec homes. The developer is speculating, the builder's speculating that someone is going to buy that house. So they have everything picked out for it almost from the very beginning. They know
Absolutely.
how much it's going to cost. They know exactly what's going to go in there, the colors of the paint, what's going to be on the floor, and most of the time they don't even put it up for sale until it's done or very, very close to being done.
Correct. And so that's one thing you'll see a lot of track builders. They will build a lot of spec homes. So I guess that's the question that is a little bit of difference. Like, what's the difference between a track home spec and an Infinity Custom Homes spec?
Yeah, so Infinity Custom Homes, we have spec homes. We build them as an investment. We know that there's people in the market who want to have a house right when they're looking for a house, and so sometimes a custom home isn't necessarily there right for them because that's going to take time. Sometimes 12 to 18 months is probably the best time frame for that. They don't want to wait that long. They need a house right then.
Correct. So what's the difference? I mean, if I want a spec home, am I going to go to one of these huge track builders and that's my only option? Or, I mean, if you're saying that Infinity does that, like, why would I choose that over one of these track homes?
Yeah, so Infinity Custom Homes, we're going to still have the same types of finishes, the high-end finishes that you'd expect in a custom home. So we're in a house right here. This is a spec home that we've built. It has all the same people that work on our custom homes did the finishes in this house. So we have all the same vendors, all the same subs. You can walk around this house and you can see a lot of high-end finishes that you can expect in an Infinity Custom Home. Now, what you can't do is you can't go around and say, hey, I don't like this blue color, Chris. I would rather this be green. Unfortunately, that decision was made between us and our designers that we thought would be a great fit for someone in this house. And hopefully, it will be that someone will come to this house and love it. That's one of the downsides of having a spec home versus a custom home.
Gotcha. So we're just going to kind of cover some of that stuff. So at this point, like, the downsides to a spec home, I mean, Matt mentioned it, right? Like, you don't get to pick out every single finish. So a lot of people can look at that as a negative, but it's also a positive as well, because in the building process, there are a lot of choices. So if you don't have to make all those choices, or you don't like making a lot of last minute decisions, it can be seen as a positive thing to come into a spec that is built at a custom level. You just didn't have to make all those choices, right?
Yeah, a lot of people walk into our homes and they say, hey, I just love this house, right? I want to buy this house as it is. And we're glad. We're glad that we have a great team of designers and craftsmen that can help put that together. And literally, sometimes when we give people the selections, the number of choices they have to make in this house, it is hundreds of choices that they have to make, and it's just too overwhelming for them to be able to even think about all of that. So they would rather come into a home that's completely done, see that they like it, and then purchase that house.
Yeah, so that's definitely can be a pro and a con. A couple of the things that can be a pro, or that are good assets as far as a spec home goes, is the cost per foot can typically be lower. It's going to be a cost savings because we're not actually coming and selecting every item with the client. We as Infinity Custom Homes are the client on those spec homes. We are choosing higher end finishes, but we are doing them in a manner which is the most cost beneficial for us, so that way we can turn out a good quality product for a lower cost per foot.
Yeah, on some of these spec houses, you may not see some of the super cool things that a customer may request or that they want to do in a custom home, right? Oh, I saw this little video on Instagram. This is exactly how I want to do it. I want to create this real cool touch. We might see that as, hey, that's a cool thing, but that's gonna, in a spec home, that's gonna cost us quite a bit of extra money that we're not sure that the general public would like. It would be more of a custom thing for that one individual. So some of those things aren't there in the spec home, but that we can do in a custom home. And really, in a custom home, it's yours. You can decide from the very beginning, from where the land is to what the design looks like, to all the little things you want to put in there. Really, your limit is just your dream and your pocketbook. So
exactly, and so that's the difference between more or less a spec and a custom. Whenever we start talking about the custom side of things, it is a longer process whenever we do a full custom home, because we are with you from the very beginning. We're there to help you select land. We're there to help you work through plans with the architect, make sure that those plans fit your needs, make sure that the elevations look the way you want them to look. And then I think one of the most important things is talking about placement of the home on that land. That's something that Matt and I do a lot of. We meet people out at land and make sure that, number one, the land fits for them, but number two, like, how are we actually going to place that plan on the lot so that we can make sure they're getting the sun at the right angle or not getting it at the wrong angle. So there's a lot of things that we can go through in the custom phase that we can't do on the spec side of things. Another factor is neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
So how do you address that? I mean, some neighborhoods are spec neighborhoods, some neighborhoods are custom neighborhoods. And so I think that's a factor that kind of weighs in whether or not you are a spec candidate or a custom candidate, right, Matt?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, some especially the tract builders, right? They build all the houses in that neighborhood. That's all they get. So if you want that exact neighborhood, then you're gonna have to go with the spec builder and that spec neighborhood.
And they're only gonna have 3-4 plans. You only get a pick from those plans with those finishes. And so you walk into your neighbor's house four houses down, he's got the same exact plan, same exact floor, same exact countertop, and he literally lives in the same exact house that you do. That's definitely different than the spec homes that we're talking about. We can get into a lot of neighborhoods and we can build you a beautiful spec home that's not gonna look anything like your neighbor's. We do strive to coordinate with our designer to make every house have its own character and its own feel.
Yeah, we usually buy lots, and we have lots on hand in neighborhoods that we think are meant for infinity, high-end finishes, places that are good locations, things like that. We'll have some lots on hand that people can choose from if they want to build a custom on. If they don't build a custom on, then we're going to build a spec on them eventually. So we're always in the process of acquiring lots in different neighborhoods, but there's always the chance that we don't have a lot in the neighborhood that you want. We have great relationships with a lot of the developers here in Edmond and Oklahoma City Metro, and we're usually able to talk with them to either get a lot or find a lot nearby, or work with our realtor to find a lot, anywhere in the area that help fits your needs.
Now we swing all the way to the full custom side of things. When we're talking about a full custom house, what is the difference between choosing Infinity to be your custom home builder and most of the other home builders out there?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of great home builders out there. I'm not going to lie.
There are.
We have great relationships with a lot of them. So really, I think the biggest thing is how we work with our clients is one of the big things. We have a lot of good communication. We try to help them, ease them through the process. We have a process built out that we're going to go through over in some more videos as we put these out about what that process looks from an Infinity side. So you can see from day one when you're coming to our office to say, hey, Matt and Chris, I'm considering you to build a house for me, what that could potentially look like all the way to the end when we deliver that house to you all the way finished. So we're going to be in constant communication with you. We have a great team of designers, realtors, craftsmen that we've worked with for many, many years so that when you come to us and say, hey, Matt and Chris, this is my dream, this is what I want to look like, then we can make that happen because we've had that experience through many years of being able to craft many different things. Some crazy wild things that we've done.
Absolutely.
That when at first people will come to us and say, hey, I've got an idea, I know it sounds crazy, but this is something I want to look at. I don't know if there's really been one that we haven't been able to do with the work of our whole entire team. So
that's right, and that's more or less the part that I wanted to touch on is we do have some processes in place that help us really fine tune that communication. But the main thing is if you've seen it or if you've dreamt up something that you've never seen before, that is something that we would love to collaborate with you on and that we want to help create. It's something that we are always striving for and trying to do is create something that is on the front edge of the trends, the front edge of technology, and being able to incorporate new and different styles and do something that we've never seen before. Like, we love a challenge. So at the end of the day, if your dream is to build a custom home and come up with your own ideas that we can then incorporate into a structure and turn it into an amazing feature that you're proud of, then Infinity Custom Homes is a good fit for you.
Yeah, and if you're interested in knowing more, if you go to our website, we have the list of all the spec houses that we have right now on the market, ones that are we've finished or ones that are upcoming. So you can go look and see if any of those are a fit. We have also some ebooks on there that will help walk you through our process and what it would look like if you want to do a custom build with us.
Awesome. Thanks guys for tuning in. Check us out.